whakalofa and no mai hoki mai. Welcome back to my Friday lives. This week's question is, how do you deal with a parent who is set in their ways and constantly brings judgment or shame, especially when it comes to expressing yourself? How do you stay true to yourself while still loving and respecting them? That's a handful of words. But I love this question so much, and I want to say, like, it's quite hard, right? We have to acknowledge the way that we feel, and it does feel tough sometimes, especially if you're Polynesian. In this culture, we hold our family in such high regard, like families first, all the things, right? So I get it. And it's something I've navigated in my family dynamics and my family relationships. And a lot of my clients have also worked through this with me as well. So I get it. I absolutely get it. Let me know in the comments as well if you get it as well. So there's a few things. Firstly, we need to set boundaries. Boundaries are so important. We need to set them. And how do we do that? We have a conversation with the person. And I know the reason why we don't have conversations is because it's tough. It's uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable saying, hey mom, hey dad, like, I need to have a real, raw, honest conversation with you, and we need to talk about a few things. Like, how, like, feel that in your freaking stomach right now. That feels scary, right? And it is scary. And that's why a lot of us don't do it, because it's uncomfortable. And sometimes we also assume how they're going to react. We think we know our parents so well. They were like, nah, we know it's not going to go down well. It's going to be confrontational. They're not going to listen. It's going to go over their head. But let's stop assuming. Don't assume how it's going to be, because that's going to stop you from even doing it. And sometimes we say that it's like a cop out, because we know we don't want to have the conversation. So we tell ourselves, now they're going to act real bad. They're going to react real bad, should I say. So we're not going to do it in the first place. But don't assume. Take it off the table. They might surprise you. And it might be shit. It might go really bad. But as long as you've communicated how you feel to them, as long as you've had that conversation. So when you come to that conversation, you have to tell them how you feel. And you have to tell them what's off limits. Hey mom, hey dad, my weight, comments on my weight, that's off limits. Please do not comment on my weight. What I wear is off limits. Please don't comment on what I wear. What I say, the way I say things is off limits. Please don't comment on the way, whatever it is, right? Whatever the thing is, please stop commenting on the way I parent my children, or whatever it is. Please stop commenting on my relationships or my boyfriend or whatever it is, right? So you have to be really clear with what it is that you want. And these conversations can be so beautiful. Like, they can be beautiful. You just need to be clear. They don't have to be confrontational. It's coming to the table with your guard down and just being like, yo, I want to be so real with you right now. Like, this actually really hurts me, and I really value our relationship. So I need to talk about X, Y, and Z, and I need you to stop, or I would love it if you stop, right? So we need to set those boundaries with these family members and have the really hard conversations with them. People sometimes, like, people don't know what they don't know. They might actually be like, oh, I didn't realize that's how you felt. Is that why you keep reacting that way? Like, they might not even know. So it's on you to speak up. If something upsets you, it's on you to speak up about it. We're not mind readers, right? You have to say something. So say something. And then secondly, I would say to hang around with people who you can fully express yourself around. Hang around them, get around them more. Hang around with them, be around them, express yourself more, and all the things. And another thing is, like, we can't change other people, right? You can't change your parents. So if they decide that they're not going to listen and they're not going to obey or respect your boundaries, it's on you to do something about it, right? You can't change them. You can't make them respect your boundaries, right? But then you get to choose what you want to do from there. What are you going to do? And most of the times, I'm sorry, but sometimes you have to remove yourself from being around them. You have to remove yourself. You have to hold those boundaries that you set, right? There's some consequences to these boundaries. If you don't respect these boundaries, then I'm not going to come around your house. Then you're not going to see me as often. Then I'll only see you at family functions. Then our relationship's not going to be that great. We're not going to be like tight knit, right? So you have to set those boundaries, and then you have to action the consequences. And sometimes if you live with your family, which I used to live with my family a lot in the Polynesian culture, we live with the family member, you might have to leave. You might have to move out. You might have to go. And then there might be some limiting beliefs around that. Oh no, I can't move out because we're in a housing crisis, or I can't afford to be on my own. I can't do this. I can't do that. Then you've got to work on that. You've got to work on those limiting beliefs. You've got to figure all that out, right? So you might have to move out. You might have to pull yourself away from your family. And above all, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but if it comes to a relationship with your parents or a good relationship with yourself and living your best damn life, sometimes you might have to cut off that relationship with your parents. You have to come first above all else, right? You have to put yourself first, like actually put yourself first, not some like quote you see online, like put yourself first, fill up your cup first. No, actually. And putting yourself first might be cutting off the relationship with your family for a little bit, cutting off that relationship with a family member for a little bit, while you get yourself up and sorted, and while you figure shit out. And it might not be forever, and it may be forever, but we don't have to go future, right? We don't have to go down that track, but that might be something you have to do. And the reason why you're probably not doing that is because it's uncomfortable, because it is tough, because it is hard. There's a lot of discomfort in that. But I'm here to tell you, sister, like that these are the things that you will have to do. You have to set boundaries. You have to have hard conversations. You might have to move out. You might have to get to going. But I think that's enough. That's a lot in there, right? And I just want to say, like, you need to really acknowledge yourself, acknowledge the way you feel. Please don't push it to the side. Please don't think that, you know, what you're feeling isn't valid, or that you shouldn't be feeling that way about your parents, or, you know, that they, you know, all the things. Like, don't not acknowledge yourself. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, don't just make sure you acknowledge yourself in the way you feel. But thank you so much for that question. That's all from me. This is also something I talk about in the 21-day confidence boost program. A lot of the times we have to build up the confidence to have the conversation with your parents as well, which is something I cover in the 21-day confidence boost. It's all about confidence and being the most confident version of you, and all the things. So if you want to be a part of that, let me know below. Comment confidence boost and I'll hook you up. Otherwise, if you have a question that you want me to answer, also let me know and I can answer it next week. I'll be back at 3 p.m. on Fridays. Thank you so much for being here and have a lovely freaking weekend. Ka kite, koi kia.